5 o'clock. From the studios of K10 Television, this is K10 News at 5.
Straight ahead on K10 News at 5, a 911 operator in Texas is in hot water after she admits she's hung up on callers. Plus, people in a local town convinced city leaders to install speed bumps on their street, but other neighbors say not so fast. And in the push for November, election board members in Texoma say they may be being scammed by fake voters.
Good evening, I'm Tom Crespo. Welcome to K10 News at 5.
And I'm Kathleen Jordan. Today marks 28 days until Election Day, and as voters gear up to head to the polls, election board officials here are dealing with fraud. Members of the Carter County Election Board say they're concerned they're getting scammed. They say they've received at least 10 reports a week of fraudulent voter registration. They say they've already had 2 cases that they've brought to the district attorney's office. People are trying to register to vote under false pretenses with made-up or incorrect identification. And because the election board is not legally allowed to ask for a form of ID, they think it could be happening more than they realize.
We are not allowed to ask for ID. They sign an affidavit at the bottom of the registration saying that they are over 18 and that they are a U.S. citizen, and we have to take it at face value.
This happened. Carter County District Attorney Craig Ladd says anyone who registers to vote with false identification can face up to 5 years in prison and will be charged with a $50,000 fine. And back home, suspended Carter County Sheriff Milton Anthony was back in court today for an arraignment that ended up being rescheduled. Marshall County Judge Wallace Coppage and attorneys from both sides of the case met behind closed doors discussing future court actions. Court officials say Anthony's arraignment has been rescheduled for November 2nd at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Back in June, Anthony was arrested on bribery charges in connection with claims he hired a female employee's husband in exchange for sex. Anthony is also charged with sexual battery and accused of inappropriately touching another employee. A Kingston man has been arrested after police say they found illegal drugs at his home. Police officers say Roland McCrae was arrested on charges of possession of marijuana with intent to distribute drug paraphernalia, and they found 3 loaded firearms after a felony conviction. They searched his home in the 500 block of South Donahue Street. McCrae was booked into the Marshall County Jail last night. And turning to weather now, a warmer day for us, but we do have some rain chances headed our way later this week. Let's toss it over to Alan in the Weather Center for a quick check of forecast. Alan. Thank you, Alan. A former 911 operator in Texas admits to hanging up on callers because she didn't feel like talking, and now she's facing criminal charges. Phil Archer has a story. That was Phil Archer reporting. Williams has been charged with interference with an emergency telephone call, which is a misdemeanor. She's scheduled to be in court next week. Tonight is the championship for what some call golf's greatest spectacle, and it's right here in Texoma. The World Long Drive Championship is being held at the WinStar Casino's golf course. The competition is open to amateur and professional golfers with different divisions that they can compete in. Competitors drive balls 200 to 450 plus yards for a payday of $125,000 to whoever hits it the farthest. We're told the stands have been packed at the event every night this week, narrowing down the competition. Admission is free, but organizers tell us this event brings in thousands of dollars to our area. Still ahead at 5, cancer survivors know the fight is not over once they beat it. We'll show you how they use yoga to help them cope.
Plus, the Rangers are out of the postseason, but the Texas general manager says this isn't the end. More on that later in sports.
And Alan's back with a full look at your forecast. K10 News at 5 returns. Experts are again showing the dangers of using indoor tanning beds and how that bad habit could affect overall skin protection. Details coming up. Battling cancer is often a long and hard road for patients, but once they beat it, the fight is far from over. Danielle Barber shows us how yoga is helping cancer survivors cope with what they've overcome. And that was Danielle Barber reporting. Stanford's Cancer Survivorship Program is hoping to expand this program in the future. And people who indoor tan frequently tend to have poor skin protection habits overall. Researchers from Johns Hopkins University looked at data from more than 10,000 adults with no history of skin cancer, and at least 7% reported using sunbeds within the past year. Frequent indoor tanners were also less likely to use sunscreen or wear protective clothing. They were also less likely to undergo regular skin cancer screenings. Still ahead at 5, the hard court is heating up. A recap of the Thunder Mavericks preseason game coming up next. Well, Alan, another beautiful day for us.
It
We've
has
said
been
all week.
Yeah, that's right. And things are changing, though. And it's been a little bit warm for some folks. They're going, what happened to autumn? Well, there's autumn right there. As you can see, temperatures dropping into the 50s this evening across our Texoma area. Tomorrow will be generally in the 60s all day, with rain chances arriving primarily tomorrow night and into Friday morning, clearing out for those high school football games.
Sounds good. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 6.